The religious experience for African American Muslims has historically been one of marginalization. African American Muslims have dual identities in America, one being black and the other being Muslim. Historical records from the 1860s show at least 10% of African slaves were either Muslim or from Islamic backgrounds. Muslim slaves were typically forbidden from practicing their faith due to religious discrimination and fear of slave revolts. Some historians contend that African American Muslim sailors came to the Americas well before Christopher Columbus in 1492.
Muslims explored the Americas in the 16th century with the Spanish conquistadors. We Muslims were there with Columbus in 1492 when he supposedly discovered America. And yes, we Muslims were there long before Columbus was even born. Ancient Arabic sources indicate that there were at least 3 Muslim voyages from Muslim Andalusia to the New World. Abdul Hassan Ali ibn al-Hussein ibn Ali al-Masudi, who lived from 871 to 957, riding in the meadows of gold and quarries of jewels, wrote about the voyage of Kashkash ibn Sa'id ibn Aswad in the year 889, over 6 centuries before Columbus. According to the account, Ibn Aswad sailed west with a Muslim crew from Delba, the same port from which Columbus would later sail some 6 centuries later. He found a new world and returned with wealth and booty from across the Atlantic.
Besieged by racism and disenchanted by Christianity in the late 1920s, a new form of African American protest was created by combining Islamic principles and black nationalism. From this belief system evolved the Nation of Islam. This unorthodox version of Islam taught self-defense, racial pride, segregation. God is the black man, and the white man is the devil. 2 of the most well-known former members of the Nation of Islam were Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X.
His audience was composed chiefly of Christian Negroes with a lively interest in African affairs. We've obtained film segments of that speech. The film was made under adverse circumstances, but you will be able to hear and understand Minister Malcolm X as he addresses a non-Muslim audience.
Who is his enemy? He'll say the Belgians. Ask the man in Kenya who is his enemy. He'll say the British. Ask the man in Morocco who is his enemy. He'll say the French. But the one thing that the French and the British and the Belgians all have in common, they're all from Europe. Is that right or wrong? How could so few white people rule so many black people? This is the thing you should want to know. How could so few? The white man today will tell you that thousands of years ago, the black man in Africa was living in palaces. The black man in Africa was wearing silk. The black man in Africa was cooking and seasoning his food. The black man in Africa had mastered the arts and the sciences. He knew the course of the stars in the universe before the man up in Europe knew that the earth wasn't flat. Is that right or wrong? Then if the black man in Africa had reached such a high state of civilization so long ago, at a time when the people of Europe were crawling on their all fours, what happened to make these people or enable these people to come out of the cave and come down into our civilization and take it over and hitch us to the plow? What happened? How did they do it? These are the things you should want to find out before you say hooray, hooray, hooray. Is that right or wrong?
This is the psychology of the Muslims. They know that the American Negro is angry because he's been cast in an inferior role. And they seek to convert him to the Muslim cause by drenching him in a doctrine of black supremacy. These then are the Muslims. These are the things they are saying, preaching, teaching their children. And they are the most powerful of the black supremacist groups.
African American Muslims now make up 42% of all Orthodox Sunni Muslims in the United States. They are still largely marginalized by society and are rarely asked to engage in discussions about current Islamic issues. Islam in the African American community instills a sense of equality, justice, discipline, and community that attracts many new converts each day from all walks of life.